Hi, my name is Gina M. I'm 55, and I'm new to Washington in the last couple years, and I decided to join Kitsap CrossFit because I got a diagnosis of osteoporosis and just before I turned 54.
What did you do prior to coming here? What did you do? What was your occupation?
Prior to moving to Washington, I had just retired from the city of San Diego. I was a firefighter paramedic for 28 years and spent most of my life actually in San Diego. Went there to go to college and then got my job with San Diego Fire and only moved here to help out with some aging parents.
So, and you were a very active person, right? I mean, obviously you had a very active job and lifestyle, but you also were pretty heavily involved fitness-wise, right?
Yeah, my whole life I've been playing sports. I mean, I played basketball and soccer, track, tennis. I was pretty much in sports since I was 4 and
Yep.
5. And then of course that's what led me to or attracted me to being a firefighter. Once I found out women could do that job, it was like being in an obstacle course every day and getting to do functional fitness is what I call it. So I did CrossFit years ago. Gosh, I did boot camp runs, marathons. I was more of a runner with a weight habit every once in a while. So I wouldn't say that I weightlifted because I always looked at my career as functional. We did a lot of stairs. We had a lot of high rises in San Diego, so you could throw a BA on or take a weight vest and just run up and down stairs. To me, that was weightlifting. I never really spent a ton of time in the gym because when you live in San Diego, you're in the water or you're out running or you're hiking or doing something like that. So I was pretty fit before until the pandemic. And between the pandemic, hitting postmenopause, and not having any equipment up here, I kind of had to stay with running and hiking.
So, to say the least, the um, osteoporosis diagnosis was a bit of a surprise, shock
It
to the
was a
system.
huge shock. I think I was cocky. I mean, I used to, as a paramedic, I used to pick up, especially elderly women that had fallen and broken their hips or had fractures. And I never thought that would be me because I just thought, okay, if you're strong, you don't have that problem. So yeah, it was a complete shock. It was pretty demoralizing, especially being up here where I wasn't around my support system, don't know anybody, still don't know a ton of people, and didn't have any access to weights, things that would have helped me probably improve sooner. It was just it was a huge shock actually.
And what was the initial medical advice that you got?
Well, I got advice not to lift any weights because everybody was worried I'd hurt myself. And then I was basically told to take the medications. I didn't know much about them, so I found myself basically on the internet every day getting more and more demoralized because you can't reverse it. These medicines will cause your bones to be more brittle. You can literally fracture your femur just standing
Which
there.
is crazy. The medication to fight the osteoporosis is going to make your bones more brittle.
It does. So yeah, it's really complicated. It's not really complicated, but it does take some time to learn like the process of how bones rebuild. And you have osteoclasts and osteoblasts. And the clasts break the bone down and the blasts build it up. So the medication stops your osteoclasts from doing anything. And you want them to work because they break down old bone. So what the medicine does is allow you to build bone around old bone that should be broken down. So what happens is over time that bone's just going to snap, and then you have a fracture inside of new bone, and so that's why that can happen. So it doesn't really make you stronger. And being only just about 54 when I got the diagnosis, I'd have to be on those drugs for a really long time, and the longer you're on them, the more susceptible you are to having a problem. And then basically my dentist told me he wouldn't work on me. So if I needed a tooth taken out or any work on my jaw, like they won't work on you because the medication causes microfractures in your jaw. And most dentists again won't work on somebody that's taking bisphosphonates.
Oh wow! I didn't
And
know
a
that.
lot of people don't know that, and the doctors won't tell you that. It's online though, you can
Yeah.
find it.
So what did you end up doing then? What did you end up doing? What was the approach
Well,
that you took?
I think I first listened to him. I freaked out. It's kind of like, oh my God, am I like a walking time bomb? And so I was standing at Big Five every Wednesday when they get shipments during the pandemic, trying to get dumbbells. And so I got lighter ones and I was just doing like tons of reps. But then an article came out in the Seattle Times about how running and walking and light weights is not enough. You got to lift heavy weights. And the first thing I thought was, hey, I've done CrossFit before. I need to get back in the gym. So that's when reached out to you. and started personal training. And so other things I've done, just for other people's knowledge, there's a lot of studies out there that talk about micronutrients and how important they are. Calcium's not the only one. So I followed that study. I'm taking vitamin K and I'm taking DHA, and vitamin D is huge. It's very important for especially postmenopausal women. Yeah, especially here. And I don't think that's, my vitamin D actually went down because I wore a lot of sunblock in San Diego because of being fair-skinned. And so the Lift More study, I'm doing prunes every day. I don't need to be doing prunes every day, but there's a study that if you do at least 5, that because they're high in boron, they actually help osteoblast production. And so yeah, I don't drink as much as I used to. I used to enjoy my glass of wine here and there, a few at a sitting, but now I'm really careful about how often I drink, just because alcohol plays a huge role in bone health. So those are the kind of the main things I'm doing. I'm working on my sleep. Again, being postmenopausal, it's a kiss of death of all the things that go wrong. I'm also doing HRT. I, decided that was worth the risk, and even though the risk isn't super high because I'm super fit, and most of my blood panel looks good, I figured it was worth helping slow the bone loss down while I tried to build it back up.
And so you've been coming here for how long now?
Well, actually, I started with you probably a year ago, and then I started full-time in the gym in June, sometime around the 20th, I believe. So yeah,
So it's been a year.
A year. And I did go back recently and look to see, because the Lift More study is based on a certain weightlifting program, and they did it twice a week, every week. And so we do more in here than I would say that particular, it's the same workout these women did in the study. And so I went back and looked, and all of April I came in. From April and May I was in twice a week until I joined. And then I think I started with 3 classes a week, just because it was kicking my butt at first, just getting back into anything, especially after only been running pretty much. And now I try to be here 4 or 5 times a week.
And so you just recently did some follow-up scans.
I did.
And what did you find out?
I found out that I'm no longer in osteoporosis. I basically did everything the doctors told me wasn't possible and wouldn't help me because of it. So I paid out of pocket for the scan because insurance wouldn't cover it, because I did it a little sooner than 2 years. They make you wait too. And so I jumped almost a full point, improved almost a full point in my spine, and then the hip didn't improve as much, but I'm literally in the middle of osteopenia, and if I continue to do what I'm doing, I still have a renal calcium leak. That's still part of why I have osteoporosis. It wasn't because I wasn't doing anything. So we're still working on that with a kidney doctor, but being in here and the diet is probably the 2 most important things I could be doing right now, next to fixing the renal leak.
So that's an important statement, because there's a lot of folks, especially women, certainly in your age range, who would look at the things that we do here and just say, I just don't know, that just doesn't seem like it's for me. What would you say to that?
Well, I'd say I thought the same thing coming back, because I used to be this great athlete, and when I got to 50 and hit menopause, a lot of changes happened. I again was cocky with that, thinking that's not going to be me, and it was me. So for those of you out there that know what I'm talking about, it's a huge, huge humbling experience. And I never saw myself being back in the gym. I thought, I don't need to do this anymore. I'm not a firefighter. I don't need to carry a certain amount of weight. But once I got back in here, you can scale. I scale all the time. I modify things to fit what, half the time I've got something that's bothering me, ankle, back, whatever, wrist. So you can do it. You can absolutely do it. And I honestly didn't think my body would go back to where it used to be. And I've seen in quicker than a year, but literally in this year, I've seen my body change in ways I didn't think it was possible at this age. So you totally can do it. You should do it. You need to be in here. And you don't, again, I can't lift as much as half the people in here, but that doesn't matter. You should be in here for yourself. I'm in here for me, and I'm inspired by all those people. I look over and go, ooh, I want to be doing that. And then I tell myself, no, I'm 55. I do not need to be competing with Carol or Janine or Janae or Brandy. I just need to be doing what Gina needs to do. So, that's it. You should do it. You should get in here. And one of the things I really impressed about this gym is when I did CrossFit before, it was a bunch of cops and military people, and it was a lot of men, and there were a few of us chicas in there, but in here, there's a lot of women, and today's class was all women. So, and from different age groups. So you don't have to be intimidated. Come in, and everybody will help you. So,
Good. Anything else you want to add? That was good.
no.
All right.